Hello. So we shall now start some more verses from Aryabhata, that is Ganitapada. And this is towards the end of the topics in Ganitapada. So we have done the sum of n triangular numbers, and the formula for that was obtained in two ways. One is n into n plus 1 into n plus 2 divided by 6. Another is 1 by 6 into n plus 1 cube minus n plus 1. So this is one formula and this is another formula. Both these formulae are given in verse 21 of Ganitapada. Now there are some exercises which are mentioned which can be considered for students. So later on this slide also will be shared with you. One can construct such problems based on the formulae given in Aryabhata. And also I mentioned that usually in our courses related to arithmetic progressions, geometric progressions, the questions like find the number of terms in an arithmetic progression given the sum, initial term and common difference. That question is not asked because that requires solving a quadratic equation. So this is an example where using a quadratic equations formula, one can find the number of terms of an arithmetic progression. How many participants are there? Yes. Then one can ask the students to prove this formula for find the sum of first n cubes. So 1 cube plus 2 cube plus 3 cube and so on by mathematical induction and also by using difference of consecutive fourth powers. So such problems can be done in the courses. Now this is the 23rd verse, which tells you how to find out the product of two numbers in a different way. So the formula that is used here is a into b is a plus b square minus a square plus b square. So you are obtaining, so you require square of the sum of the two numbers, so a plus b square, and you also require the sum of their squares. So a plus b square minus a square plus b square divided by 2. So if you know the squares of numbers, you have remembered or you have a table for that, then you can find out the product easily. For example, here 100 square minus 67 square plus 33 square. So 67 into 33, you want to find that. So sum of these two numbers is 100. So 100 square minus 67 square plus 33 square. So if you are remembering these squares of 67 and 33 and also their sum 100 square, then you can get 10,000 minus 5578, that is 4422. You see that 67 square here obtained in a short way. 67, 7 square is 49, 6 square is 36. And you take the product of these two, that is 42, multiply by 2, so 84. And the sum of these is 4489. So 4489, similarly 33 square is 1089. Their sum is equal to 5578. That you subtract and you get 4422. So this is another way. Sometimes it is very useful if you know the squares of numbers. So here the verse says samparkasya hi vargat. So samparka of the two numbers. So the two numbers are there. Their samparka is addition. Its square vargat. So that is a plus b square. From that, what you do? Vishodhayet eva varga samparkam. Varga samparka means you take the varga first of all, square, and then their addition. So sum of the two squares, that you should do Vishodhayet. Vishodhayet is you subtract. V is usually for subtraction. Vishodhayet varga samparkam. So minus of a square plus b square. Once you do the subtraction, then yat tasya bhavati ardham. So whatever half of that, ardha is half. So yat whatever its half, that is vidyat. Vidyat means one should understand that as gunakara samvargam. So you are taking together these two numbers. So that is their product. Product of the two numbers is understood as the samparkasya hi vargat a plus b square minus a square plus b square divided by 2. So this is the formula given using squares. So actually in Indian mathematics, square itself is an operation. Just as you have addition, multiplication, subtraction, division, these are operations, but varga is also an important operation as per the Indian mathematicians. So how to use varga to find out the product? That is what is explained in this verse. And the advantage of this, it may look sometimes complicated. Suppose I want to multiply 5 into 3 by this method. Then 5 plus 3 is 8, 8 square is 64. Then 5 square is 25, you should subtract that. And 3 square is 9, you subtract that. And then you divide by 2. So that becomes 15. So that looks complicated for us because 5 and 3 are small numbers and we directly can multiply 5 and 3. But the method is illustrated. So usually in old times, students were made to remember squares of natural numbers up to 100. So for them, such products may be found easily by using squares. Okay. Now the next problem considered by Aryabhata is that this is many times solved when you do this quadratic equations chapter in the high school or college. So you are given the subtraction, difference of the two numbers, and you are given the product also. So this is harder than finding the numbers when you are given the sum of the numbers and product of the numbers. Because if sum and product are given, then you form the quadratic equation immediately and solve that. Now here there is one more step, that from the difference you find out the sum of the two numbers, and for that we use this formula. Nowadays we write in this form: a plus b square is equal to 4ab plus a minus b square. So you find out a plus b, then a is equal to the sum of a plus b and a minus b divided by 2, and b is equal to the difference of a plus b and a minus b and divide by 2. So this is how the number can be obtained. So now here in this example, suppose these original numbers are 39 and 51, their product is this. Now their difference is given to you. Difference is 12, product is given to you. Then find out a plus b by this. So a plus b square is 8100. The square root is a plus b, which is 90. Once you find a plus b, you can find a and b by adding the numbers and dividing by 2, and subtracting the numbers and divide by 2. So we get the original numbers by this method. So here the method is given dvi kruti gunat samvargat. So dvikruti, here kruti is square, dvi means 2, dvikruti means 2 square, 2 square means 4. So you multiply, samvarga means the product of the two numbers, you multiply by 4. So that is ab into 2 square, that is 4ab. So samvargat, Then you, so Dvantara Antara Vargena. So you take the difference and take the square of that Varga. Okay, so 4ab plus a minus b square. So Sayutat. So you add them. So you have taken first of all 4 times ab and then add this a minus b square, and then once you do that, now we know we are getting the square of a plus b. So he doesn't say that, he just says now once you add, the method is you take the moolam, means square root of that, you take that. So that square root, it is a plus b. Now from that we know now a plus b and a minus b, if we know, then you add them and divide by 2 and subtract and divide by 2. So antara yuktam हीनम तत् गुणाकार द्वयम दलितम. So गुणाकार द्वयम दलितम. So dalitam means half actually. Dalitam means half. Then you have to antara yuktam हीनम. So that a plus b is we have obtained. So to that you add yuktam antaram. The difference of that you should add. That is the idea. Whatever you have obtained, that is we have obtained a plus b. Antara yuktam. So add a plus b. Similarly, hinam you also subtract. So gunakara dvayam dalitam. If you divide by 2, then those two numbers is obtained. So dividing by 2, we get a and b. So antarayuktam hinam also. Hinam means you subtract. Tad gunakara dvayam, these two numbers, if you divide by 2, you get the two numbers. So this is roughly the meaning of that. Okay. Now the next verse is verse 25. So which I will explain first and then we can look at the original thing. So actually Aryabhata doesn't give directly that our usual formulae, that how do you get the interest if you are given the principal, then number of months or years, whatever, and the rate, then how to find out the interest. Such formula he doesn't give. He directly solves a problem, understanding that you know the basic formulae, but if some difficult problem is given to you, then how will you solve it? So that is what is done in this example. So suppose, so some amount, it's Aryabhata says some amount. So I am taking, for example, 100 is the amount, and it is given as a loan for 1 year. 1 year means 1 unit of time. It can be 1 month or 6 months period, some period like that. Then the interest on this amount, for example, here the interest is 10 rupees, because suppose I have a rate of interest is 10%, then the interest is suppose 10. Now this is given as a loan for 6 years. So this 10 rupees is given for 6 years at the same rate. So original suppose 10% is the rate of interest, then same rate. So on 10 rupees you will get 1 rupee as interest for 1 year. Like this for 6 years. So 6 units of time is there. So it will become 6. Now this 10 plus 66 is 16. This is given to you. So what is given is 16, which is the amount obtained from this interest and interest on that. Now you have to find the original interest. So original interest is 10 rupees. That we have to find out. So not the principal. Rate means I have taken 100, therefore it becomes the rate. But in general, in general, how will you find? So it can be 200 rupees also. So basically, you can say that you have found out the interest on the original sum that you have to find out, or equivalently, you can say that rate is required, because rate is known means that is equivalent to that. So this is a strange problem. We have not considered any such problem that the interest is given as a loan, and then what happens after so many years, like that. So again, translated in the another way, if a sum A is given as a loan and the interest for 1 unit of time is X, suppose, then the interest on the interest for a period of T units of time, so T years or whatever, is so X square upon A multiplied by T. So your rate of interest is X upon A. So you are multiplying, the principal is now X, that X is multiplied by X upon A, and that you are multiplying by T. That is the number of years or number of units of time that you are considering. So this is, so now interest plus interest on interest. So X plus, so this X square upon A T is, X is now principal and X upon A is the rate of interest, kind of, multiplied by T. So X square upon A into T. Now interest on interest, interest plus interest on interest, that is B. That is the amount. So this is X plus T X square upon A, and that is B. So you have this equation Tx square plus Ax minus AB equal to 0. This is a quadratic equation that we are getting. And then if you solve it, because X is the interest that we are considering, the value of X by our quadratic equation formula, X is equal to minus of A plus root of A square plus 4TAB divided by 2T. So what Aryabhata will do is, mostly this capital A is the original sum which is there, which is known, and A square plus 4TAB you have to consider. Take the square root of that, then subtract A from that, then you divide by 2 times the time, and that gives you X. So it is roughly this. This is the final formula for X. X is the interest. Okay. So Aryabhata writes this formula. So what Aryabhata does is he further divides by 2. So if you divide numerator and denominator by 2, then what will happen? That outside minus A will become minus A by 2. Then root of A square upon 4. So this A square will be divided by 4, and this 4 will get cancelled. And in the denominator you are dividing by 2, so only T will remain. So he is somehow reducing the numbers and removing numbers like 2, 4, etc. That probably will reduce the calculations. So this minus A by 2 plus root of A by 2 square plus T times AB divided by T. And further, although we are accustomed to writing it in this way, minus B plus minus root of etc. But because this is with minus sign, so Aryabhata writes this term first, this root of etc. And then second term is minus A by 2. So Aryabhata write it in this formula. Root of BTA plus A by 2 square minus A by 2. So for this problem, he also simplifies whatever formula we are getting. So now in our problem, if I take capital B equal to 16, that is given to you, 6 years time is given to you, 6. Capital A is 100, that is the original sum, 100 is given to you. Now he calculates A by 2, for example, A by 2 is equal to 50, BTA, that product is 9600, add square of A by 2 to that. So A by 2 square 50 square is added, so 2500. Then one gets 12100. And the square root of this number is 110. And if it is not a perfect square, then also you can use the method of Aryabhata and find the square root correct to say two places of decimal. Okay, now subtract a by 2, means subtract 50. That gives you 60. Now divide by 6, and then you get x is equal to 10. So this is how the calculation is done. So the original interest is equal to 10. So this example shows that although Aryabhata never mentions anywhere the formula for solving a quadratic equation, he already is aware of how to solve a quadratic equation. That is very clear from this example.
Under the square root.
Yes.
Has to come as an actual.
In this case, it is in this problem. Yes, that is right. That whenever
he might have tried other numbers.
He would set an example where actual example is there. Actual example is there. So because it is an actual example, in that case, this square root will come out to be a natural number, etc.
Since he has done it so that this is natural number.
Yes.
See, he might have taken other numbers and found out the difficulty there.
No,
Maybe.
100 is not a 100 is just my example. Okay.
मग हे कन्स्ट्रक्ट केलं असणार हे बरोबर उत्तर येतात. मग ते स्क्वेअर रूट मध्ये वेगळं काहीतरी आल्यानंतर हे काय आहे कारण त्यांना करणी माहिती होती. करणी माहिती होती म्हणजे सर्च येस माहिती होतं. मग हे काय आहे मग त्याचं काही त्यांनी दिलंय
Third, the first person, as I understand, to mention surds is Brahmagupta. Aryabhata, because his mathematics is over in the 33 verses. So he doesn't mention surds as such. But this solving quadratic equations is before this theory of surds. Because in the theory of surds, one requires how to take the reciprocal of a surd, a plus root of b, for example, how to take reciprocal. And then I have not seen, but it was mentioned somewhere that Brahmagupta also finds the square root of a surd. How to find the square root of a surd. But this is, I have seen whatever in Bijganita of Bhaskaracharya. Bhaskaracharya has mentioned square roots of surds. But probably it is done for the first time by Brahmagupta. So we have to see whether it is there in Brahmasphuta Siddhanta. So our further study will tell us that thing. But this thing is specifically he knows how to solve a quadratic equation. Because there are two problems which deal with quadratic equation. This is one problem. And the previous problem was find the number of terms of an arithmetic progression given other information. So because these two problems he has done which require solution of a quadratic equation, and he very much knows how to do that. Yeah.
प्रत्यक्ष व्यवहारात करतात आमच्या ऑफिसमध्ये एफडी ठेवायची विशेषतः पहिल्या 3 महिन्याचे क्वार्टरली व्याज घ्यायचं आणि त्या वेळेपासून आरडी चालू करायची. आरडी म्हणजे रिकरिंग डिपॉझिट. म्हणजे त्या अमाऊंटचे काहीतरी व्याज मिळेल त्याला 3 भागायचं आणि त्याची रिकरिंग डिपॉझिट तेव्हापासून चालू करायचं. पुढच्या 3 महिन्यात पुढच्या 3 महिन्यात असं करायचं.
Right. So quarterly interest that you get, you again have a recurring amount. Yeah, deposit. Yes, you get a return which is instead of doing it just at the usual rate of 4% or 3.5, you can get a higher rate of interest. So people do that. That's right. So interest on interest is an important concept that we are pointing out. Well, of course, by our experience. So, but that experience is valid from the time of Aryabhata. Yeah. So now we will see. So, Moola Phalam Saphalam. So, interest on the original principle. Saphalam together with the interest. So Mula Phalam means the first of all, like on 100 you are having 10 as interest for 1 year. So that thing. Then Saphalam means on that interest, whatever interest you have got, like 6 was the interest which we had got. So that 10 plus 6. Saphalam means that original interest plus this additional interest on interest. So that together, that is our number 16, for example, which was there in the problem. So let me go to that problem. So right. This is Mula Phalam. Phalam means whatever value of the function that we are considering. So our function is getting the interest on the original sum. That is our function. So Mula Phala is many times used for kind of function that you are having in your mind. So Mula Phala and Saphalam, interest of that on that. So 10 original and again on that you have interest for 6 years, that is 16. Saphalam, this is Saphalam 16 together with interest. So Mula Phalam, Saphalam. Right. Correct. So what is B? B is 16. See, this B in this is 10 plus 6. That is Mula Phalam, Saphalam is B here. And then that B, Mula Phalam, Saphalam, that you multiply by Kala, Mula, Gunam. So multiplied by Kala is time, and multiplied by Mula also, that is the original principal. Mula is original principal, and Mula Phalam means interest on that. Saphalam means take interest, add that interest to that. So Saphalam. So we are Mula Phalam, Saphalam, Kala, Mula, Gunam. Multiply by Kala and multiply by Mula. So in our so this is T times A times B. So far we have obtained. B is that Mula Phalam, Saphalam. Then A is the original thing. So Mula. And T is the time. So multiplied by this. Kala Mula Gunam. Then Ardha Mula Kruti Yuktam. Ardha Mula. Mula means, for example, 100. Original principal. Half of that, A by 2. Then Kruti means square of that. So add that to this thing. So if you look at this formula, it will become clear that BTA of that. So B is 10 plus 6. Mula Phalam, Saphalam. Kala is T. Mula is A. Plus half of Mula, A by 2. Kruti is square of that. So far we have obtained BTA plus A by 2 square. Now once you do that, you have to take square root of that. So Kruti Yuktam Moolam. Okay, Kruti Moola Kruti Yuktam Ardha Moola Kruti square. Saphalam Kala Moola Gunam Ardha Moola Kruti Yuktam. So add the square of half of the original principal. Okay. Now, then take the Moola of that. Now here there are two meanings of Moola. So Moola means Varga Moola. So take the square root of that and Moolar Dhonam. So Ardha Moola, original Moola is principal. So Moolam is take square root. Moolar Dhonam, Unam means subtract, Moolardha means half of the principal, A by 2. So So take the moolam, then subtract a by 2. So minus a by 2. And now you should divide by the period. So moolardhonam kala hrutam. Whatever you get hrutam, so you divide by kala, that is period. That syat, it will be swamoola phalam. So it is that phalam means interest of the original thing. So interest on the original principle, that is 10 was our answer, 10. So this is how, so he has explained this formula which you get by the quadratic equation solution. Swamoola phalam. So phala is used for whatever function that you have in mind. This function is interest here on the original principle. Okay. So this is just if 1 month's interest, for example, 1 month, 1 month's interest. So 1 month, 1 year, whatever unit you can consider on a certain sum is given as loan at the same rate for a few months. Then multiply the amount obtained by the period, number of months, and the original sum. In this multiplication, add the square of half the original sum. Take the square root of the addition and subtract half of the original sum from it. After dividing this deduction by the number of months, the quotient will come up with the interest paid on the loan. So this is kind of application of these various formulae we study for simple interest, and also we should also know. So probably people can find out the simple interest, but solving the quadratic equation can go difficult for them because there is also square root evaluation involved in this. So these 6 operations that are considered here in the Indian mathematics are addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, finding square and finding square root. These are considered, these are operations considered. They are considered 6 main operations which you require always for calculation. And many problems, these are applications of square root. So you should know what is the square root and how to get it. That's why Aryabhata first tells you how to find the square root of a number. What is the method? Because usual layman will get stuck when you have to find the square root. Now rule of 3. So this rule of 3 is given here in short by Aryabhata. Interestingly, I have seen the rule of 3 is also there in Surya Siddhanta. No, not even Surya Siddhanta. This Vedan, what is it? Vedanga Jyotish. Vedanga Jyotish has rule of 3. Vedanga Jyotish. So Lagadha's Vedanga Jyotish mentions rule of 3. So Vedanga Jyotish is considered to have been written around let us say 1300 BC. 1300 BCE, that is the period because there are different suggestions for this period. So 1200, 1400, 1300, like that. So there, for the first time, I have seen this mention of rule of 3. And this is given here. So basically, example is if 2 kg, there are 7 mangoes in 2 kg of a specific size, then how many mangoes are there in 4 kg? So he has used this terminology, Ichha phala. Ichha phala means whatever you want. Ichha Rashi. 4 is Ichha Rashi, means that is the Rashi for which you want the answer. And phala means answer. So answer for this number which you have in mind, that is 4 kg. And Pramana phala and Pramana. So 2 kg, it is Pramana. and pramana phala, that is answer for this pramana, is 7 mangoes. So 2 kg is pramana. For that, this is a basic thing, and that contains 7 mangoes. Then Ichha Rashi is 4 kg, that is what you want to calculate. The answer for that, corresponding to Ichha Rashi, is Ichha Phala, that is 14. So how do you get that? So you have to multiply Pramana Phala and Ichha Rashi, and you should divide by Pramana. That gives you Ichha Phala. This is the formula explained by Aryabhata. So त्रैराशिक फल राशिम तम अथ इच्छा राशिना हतं कृत्वा. So pramana is given and there is corresponding pramana phala is there. So this phala rashi, phala corresponding to pramana, you take that and multiply it by ichha rashi. Tam atha ichha rashina hatan krutva means multiply. So we had organized lecture of Bhatte madam. So in our 2018 workshop. So whatever say hana means actually kill. But here somehow hana is used for multiplication. Hatam krutva, so you multiply. Labdam, whatever you get, pramana bhajitam. Bhajitam means bhagakar, like that. Divide by pramana. And that gives you tasmat ichha phalam idam syat. So whatever ichha you have, whatever number you have in mind, the answer corresponding to that ichha rashi is ichha phala. That you will get by this process. That pramana phala into ichha rashi divided by pramana. That is the formula of Trairashikam. Okay. So we see that this word Trairashika that we use now, rule of 3, is prevalent at least since the time of Aryabhata. In fact, it is available in Vedanga Jyotisha of Lagadha. And so if A and B are given and C is a third number, then to find a fourth number D such that the ratio A is to B is the same as the ratio C is to D. The rule says D is equal to B into C upon A. What is happening? I think I'm going in the opposite direction. Okay. This was Rashyunam. These are simple things. Trairashika phalam. Okay. Now Chedaha paraspara hataha bhavanti gunakara bhagaharanam chedagunam satchedam parasparam tat savarnatvam. So here it will be more clear by what the explanation given. So paraspara hataha. Suppose there are chedam. Sometimes you are dealing with numbers. In a rule of 3, you are dealing with integers, but you may be dealing with fractions also. So in that case, you have to divide and so on. So if you want to divide, what you should do? So one rational number is divided by another, then what will happen? So chedaha paraspara hataha bhavanti gunakara bhagaharanam. So gunakara, so you are multiplying by something and you are dividing bhagahara by something. So that there are two chedas are there. B and D are chedas here. So you have to multiply gunakara and bhagahara. The chedas, you have to multiply them by each other. So now this is from the explanation only we should understand that the Gunakara. So if there are denominators, then what is to be multiplied? So you multiply that by the denominator of the denominator. So C by D is the denominator, and by which you are dividing. Its denominator you take D, and you multiply the numerator of the number A by B. So Paraspara is actually numerator and denominator, they are multiplied there, but by each other. So numerator of one is multiplied by the denominator of the other, and so on. So this is AD upon BC. So if you know it, then you can use this to just remember it. And now it is also unclear that अपूर्णांकांची बेरीज वजाबाकी करण्यासाठी काय करावे. तर now once you have done this thing, like suppose you want to add A upon B plus C upon D, then you have to multiply numerator of one by denominator of the other, and similarly for the other thing. And once you do that, cheda gunam satchedam, then you multiply the two denominators, and then you can get the answer for addition and subtraction. So this is very unclear actually. You have to make out the meaning in this way. But other later mathematicians have explained it in a clearer manner. He has just given in short that something of this type, cross multiplication. Basically, cross multiplication is the hint that he has given. You have to do cross multiplication. भागहर भागहर म्हणजे भागाकार आपण म्हणतो, तसा खालचा तो डिनॉमिनेटर आहे तो डिनॉमिनेटर. गुणाकार म्हणजे समथिंग विच बाय विच यू आर मल्टिप्लाइंग. सो भागहराच्या म्हणजे भागहर ज्याने भागलंय त्याच्या छेदाने, असं भागहर बाय विच यू हॅव डिवायडेड. गुणाकार म्हणजे गुणणारा, वरचा, आणि भागहर म्हणजे भागणारा, म्हणजे गुणाकाराला जो गुणतो त्याला जो भागतो त्याच्या छेदाने गुणावे, असं. असे तुम्हाला मिळणार आहे. आणि त्याच्यामध्ये ऍडिशनल गोष्ट करायची म्हणजे त्या छेदांचा पण गुणाकार करायचा. यू हॅव टू मल्टिप्लाय द डिनॉमिनेटर्स इज एन ऍडिशनल थिंग देअर. परस्परम तत्सवर्णत्वम, दॅट इज सवर्ण इज एक्सप्लेन्ड ॲज समच्छेद रूप असं आपण जे म्हणतो, त्यांचा सारखा वर्ण तयार होतो. म्हणजे टाईप, वर्ण इज टाईप, सेम टाईप, दे बिकम ऑफ सेम टाईप. So same denominator. So this is very short he has written. Only he wanted to indicate that you have to do cross multiplication. Now this is Vyasta Vidhi. So kind of you are solving some linear equation Ax equal to B. Then what you should do? So this we actually teach that if you have multiplied by something, then you should divide. If you have added something, you should subtract. So like that, gunakara bhagaharaste bhavanti gunakaraha. So when you are solving such an equation, then by which you have multiplied that, by that you have to divide. So Ax equal to B, then x equal to B upon A, like that. If you have divided by something, then you have to multiply to get the answer. If you added something, so yaha kshepaha saha apachaya. Kshepaha, as I understand, it means some added quantity. Whatever you have added, then that you have to subtract. Apachaya, chaya means make a heap. Apachaya means you remove that heap, you subtract. So apachaya kshepascha viparite. Yaha kshepaha saha apachaya. Apachaya kshepascha viparite. So this is called inverse method. This whole thing is called inverse method or Vyasta Vidhi. Vyasta Vidhi is inverse method. This method, inverse method, is used to solve an equation. And in this inverse vidhi or inverse method or viparita method, you should do like this. Added thing you subtract, subtracted thing you add, and so on. So this is solving equations introduction. Bijganit high, this is we are explaining. For explanation, I am telling you, otherwise it will become difficult to, otherwise I have to give an example. So, yeah. But he is writing in very short because he has also solved later on equations like ax plus by equal to c. Okay. Therefore, here he means that he is solving a simpler equation than that. And this simpler equation will be used in solving those later equations which have actually two variables there. And this variable and so on, these concepts are not explained here. These are understood, you know that. But Bhaskaracharya specifically mentions this variable and so on. Bhaskaracharya says that if you want to find out number of lotus flowers, then you can use L there. Kamala means you should use Ka there. Or Yavat Tavat means whatever it is. Yavat Tavat, you should use Ya there. Even you are allowed to use Ya, Yi, and so on. So the advantage of that method is you will remember what you are finding because you have solved something and you don't know what it is. So you get some hint from that. Okay. So now this is a problem which he has solved. There are say 4 numbers are there and you remove one of first number and what is that sum of the other 3 numbers that is given to you. Remove second number, what is the sum of other numbers that is given to you. Then remove third number and the sum of the remaining numbers is given to you. Similarly, remove fourth number. So if that is given to you, can you find out the sum of all the numbers? That is the question. So that is how to find the answer to that question. So basically, we are given x1 plus x2 plus x3, x2 plus x3 plus x4, then x1 plus x3 plus x4, and x2 plus x3 plus so whatever remaining. So if these 4 sums are given to you, then you add them, and then effectively it becomes sum of all numbers taken n minus 1 times. Sum of x1 plus x2 plus x3 plus x4, you have taken it 3 times. So you have to divide by 3, like n minus 1 here, and that gives us the sum. So basically this is what he has done here. If there are n numbers and n sums are obtained as sums of all except 1, then to get the sum of all numbers, add all these n sums and divide by n minus 1. So he has given the method to obtain the answer.
Thereby you find each term.
Sum, you know, once you know the sum, then you know all the 4 numbers or all the n numbers from that. That he has not mentioned. Sarvadhanam tad bhavattevo. So rasyunam gachchadhanam pinditam pruthaktvena. Vyekena padena hrutam. So Rasyunam means there are 4 Rashi, means 4 numbers. There are 4 Rashi, for example. So Rasyunam. So one Rashi you remove at a time. And then Gachcha Dhanam. So you get the Gachcha Dhanam is total sum of obtained in this way. Separately, these are Pinditam, means separately you have added these things for each Rashi. So for the first Rashi, you do this, second Rashi, subtract that, and Pinditam, take sum. Pinditam means take together. Pinda म्हणजे एकत्र करणे असं. पृथक्त्वेन. Then if you want Sarvadhana means total amount what it is. If you want to know that, then Vyekena padena hrutam. So this is to be added together, and vyekena padena hrutam. So pada is total number of terms, Rashi. So vyekena means you subtract one from that. So pada is number of terms. If you subtract one from that, that is n minus 1. Then hrutam means you divide by n minus 1. And then that is sarvadhana, means total sum is what is obtained by this. Okay. So this is one problem here solved here. Okay, this we are done. Rationam. Okay, now finding unknown number from equal amounts. So solving a linear equation basically. This is what he has done. गुलिकान्तरेण विभजेत द्वयोः पुरुषयोस्तु रूपक विशेषम लब्धम गुलिका मूल्यम यदि अर्थकृतम भवति तुल्यम. So initially two persons have the same total wealth. Arthakrutam yadi bhavati tulyam. If the total wealth is the same, yadi means if, arthakrutam bhavati tulyam. For two persons, the wealth is the same. But the wealth is in terms of two things. That they have some gulika, so some object is there, and it has some quantity, like 5 apples somebody has and somebody else has 7 apples. So then gulika antarena, so 5 apples, 7 apples. So subtract 7 minus 5 is 2. So gulika antara means difference. By that you divide. So here our formula is mx plus a is equal to px plus b. You start with that. M is the number of, say, apples. Mx plus a. Mx plus a is equal to px plus b, and so you want to find out gulika, how many, what is the mulya of gulika. So what is the cost of one gulika, whatever that gulika is, apple, say, that one apple costs how much. So x is the cost of one apple or one gulika, and number of gulika with one person is m, another person has p, and apart from that gulika, he also has some money, so some cash. So first person has cash A, second person has cash B, and then total wealth is same. So mx plus a is equal to px plus b is our equation that we have. And then you want to find x. So m minus p into x is equal to b minus a, and x is equal to b minus a divided by m minus p. Okay. So he has given the final answer, which is obtained algebraically in this way, that gulikantar is m minus p here. You should divide by that dvayoho purushayoho rupaka vishesham. Rupaka means whatever cash money that person has. Vishesham, that is difference of rupaka with the two persons. So shesha, whatever is left out, that is in this case b minus a, and you should divide by gulika antara. So number of apples less, so difference between the number of apples or gulika. Then that gives you gulika mulyam. So the value of each gulika is obtained in this way. So essentially solving a linear equation here is done in this way. Okay. Now this is a problem in which, so now I think 5 minutes are left out. So from this, after this we will stop, because after this you will have to do Kuttaka 32 and 33. These are last two verses of Ganitapada. So we will discuss that next time, and this is the right place to stop. So here there are two moving objects moving in opposite direction. They are coming together. Then to get the time of meeting, you divide the distance between them by the sum of their speeds. Okay, so gati yogena viloma bhakte viloma vivare. Vivara is actually distance. Gati yogena, sum of the speeds, and gati yogena anuloma vivare dvau gatyantarena labdau dviyoga kalau atitaishyau. So bhakte is divide. So divide viloma vivare gati yogena anuloma vivare. So I think it is mentioned that they are coming together and they are going apart. Yeah, if they are moving in the same direction, then you divide the distance between them by the difference of their speeds. Moving in the same direction. So that is, and if they are going in the opposite direction, then you should divide. So अनुलोम विवरे आणि so विलोम विवरे अनुलोम विवरे. I think that is labdho means we have got. Dviyoga means where will they meet? There are two persons. Dviyoga kalau. So when will the two persons meet? That kala we have obtained in this way. So if they are moving in the viloma vivare, so they are, it is opposite direction. If they are moving, then you should divide by gati yoga. And if they are anuloma, means in the same direction if they are going, then you should divide by gatyantara. So this is roughly the meaning. In this way you are finding viyoga kalau. Kalau ati, that may be typing mistake also, I have to see. Atitaishyau. Atita means how much kal is gone. Atita is actually how much is gone. Ishyau. This I have to check. Anyway, roughly this is the understanding of this thing. By Sanskrit we can give proper meaning. So here we stop. Time is also over, and next time we will do Kuttaka method, which is described in the last two verses, and some examples I will do on Kuttaka method. And then probably because